It's on?
All right. Well, hi, I'm Barbara. I'm the store manager, and we're very honored to have Hollis Lance Liebman, the 1995 National Physique Committee Teenage National Heavyweight Bodybuilding Champion, former IFBB, which is the International Federation of Bodybuilders, official, a 3-time Fitness Magazine editor, and contest judge. From Slight to Might is his 10th fitness book and the second under his Liebman Holdings company as a book packager and author. This year has seen his further expansion into publishing with the release of his first children's picture book, Everyone Loves Lucy 2, The Pup Squad. In addition, Hollis is also a master personal trainer and transformation specialist, having worked with Hugh Jackman, Jane Lynch, and WWE superstar Chris Jericho. Visit his website at holliswashere.com. He says he is honored to be here. Again, we are honored to have him, that he is thrilled, thankful, and humbled to be a part of the publishing industry.
Thank you everybody for being here. This is a supreme honor. To go from a written word to having a book in a store is a supreme honor. So to be here is, I'm humbled and thankful. And thank you for all being here on your Saturday. You can still make the matinee show, and there's things to do, so we'll get you out of here soon. From Slight to Might is what we're talking about here. And the question I pose to you is, how good can you be? That's what we're talking about here. How good can you be? Thematically, all of my books have a theme, and we're talking about creating a better version of you despite the canvas from which you originate. We all have genetic pluses and minuses, and it's up to us to do with them what we can and our best in life. This is a book about, it's different than other fitness books because most of the books on the shelf deal with weight loss. But here, ladies and gentlemen, we're dealing with weight gain. But we're dealing with quality weight gain. We're dealing with putting on muscle in the right places with a symmetrical look. We're talking about fulfilling one's destiny and getting back on track. Many of us, years ago, gave up our physical endeavors. We thought we couldn't do it. We thought we couldn't be here today. I'm here to tell you, despite whatever genetic shortcomings or pluses or minuses or anything in life that you have, you can do what you want, you can be what you want. I'm not even supposed to be here today. I was hired 4 years ago to do a book. I was paid and I was outed. And this is going to be an emotional speech. That was not enough for me because there was other books I wanted to do. I wanted to touch other people and help other people. And if you're told in life that you can only paint in black and white, but you can paint in color, it's up to you to paint in color and to get out what you have to get out and paint. So I'm really proud of this book that it's here today. It's really a dream come true. What are we talking about here? What is an ectomorph? It sounds like something you get at Starbucks over there. Dustin, if you could stand, please. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Dustin. Thank you, Dustin. Dustin is a classic ectomorph. He is thin, long-limbed guy, hard for him to put on body weight, classically handsome and good-looking, goes without saying. But if you notice on him, the clavicles are roughly the same width as the waist. So V-taper is really, dare I say, non-existent. For Dustin, he can eat what he wants. It's a genetic plus. But to put on body weight is a tough commitment thing. All of the body types have their own pluses and minuses, but perhaps for the ectomorph, it can be argued it can be most difficult. Because here is a real lifestyle. If you don't eat consistently, you will waste away. So you must constantly eat and give the right nutrients to your body. The other two, we have the mesomorph, which is the classic X-frame, the Adonis, if you will, wide shoulders, small waist, flaring thighs. We hate these people. These are the genetic blessed. And we have the endomorphs, who are where most people, I would say, fall under. They're the people who really look at food and they gain weight. You know, so those have no sympathy really for the ecto. Sorry. So no one is purely one type. We're all rather a mixture, but everyone is dominant with more, you know, leaning toward one body type. Why the need for this book? The book was needed because, like I illustrated earlier, most of the fitness books there are about weight loss. So we're dealing here with a specific way in which to gain quality body weight. This is just not touched a lot because maybe there is an audience out there, you're all here today, But people should care more because these people lead their own private war. A war of perhaps when they were younger in high school they were bullied. They perhaps couldn't go to a party, a beach party, take their shirt off and feel comfortable. And I'm here today to say it's vitally important, it's not just a physical bodybuilding book, it's a mental building book. That you get the tools to be and look how you want to be and you can feel confident. Because after all, everybody, this is just meat. You know, but muscles are just meat. It's really the internal. Without the brain, none of this matters. So I'm here to say again, you can look how you want to look despite the canvas from which you come. Now you may be wondering, Hollis, you're more of a mesomorphic type. Why are you qualified to write this book? Well, that's a good question. First, I got bored of writing. How many core books can I write? I mean, really, I'm bored of the core books. Secondly, I've trained a lot of ectomorphs, and I've worked with a lot of them and put on the quality body weight to the point that they could look in the mirror and smile, or they could take their shirt off and feel confident. So I have a lot of experience with the ectomorph. And lastly, this book I packaged like a Swiss Army knife. I don't like to hype things or say buy the next book. Everything you need is in this book. Maybe you'll get the free toaster with it when you buy it. But basically, you know, everything you need is in there. So what I'm saying is you're going to have the skill set of training and how to put tension on a muscle instead of just, if you're doing a bench press, just heaving it up, putting the tension where it belongs. So you're going to learn how to breathe, how to train properly. It's like a in the trenches guide, everything in one locale. What I want to say is, and this is unfortunate, a lot of ectomorphs, they give up the cause too early on because they don't see results. We live in a Big Mac society today. Everybody wants it now and fast. And the truth is, and you all know this, I don't have to say it, is if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get the results. Everything takes time. Everything is hard. Getting here is hard. This traffic in LA is not good. But you all came, you know. So the other question is, a lot of them give this up and they go to, and there's nothing wrong with this, but MMA style training, mixed martial arts, which is more repetitious and fast. It's going to do great for conditioning and fighting skills and self-esteem, but nothing to put weight on. So you must stick with what's going to bring you to the dance. You must see things through. I'm a guy, if it's a book, if it's a client I'm working with, whatever it is, getting ready for a photo shoot, see things through. Because a lot of us in life don't walk the walk. And I think it's very important to not compare yourself to anybody else because you have no control over anybody else. When I competed, I didn't care who my competition was because I had no control over them. We only have control over what's in the mirror. And it's very important, vitally so, to focus on that, to be the best you can be. The other thing, the funny thing is in the old days, there was the bulking up. The ecto would just try to rush his or her way. And I do want to say the book is for men and women alike. There are women out there that are thin, that are actually not trying to lose weight, but want to gain weight. So I want to not sound sexist, and I want to say the book is for everybody. It's very important. The old days of bulking up and drinking Weight Gainer 5000, having diarrhea, excuse my French, are over. It doesn't work. So there's a more intelligent way to feed this particular body. Fats are key here. Avocado, nuts, salmon, beef, things like this that will help weight cling to the individual. It's important to eat for body type. I also want to point out, you may be saying, okay, can you name some famous examples? In the bodybuilding world, the Mr. Olympia is a preeminent competition. There have been two ectomorphs that have ascended to second place, which is pretty good. Rich Gaspari and Lee Labrada. If these names, some of you may have heard these names. These gentlemen started out rail thin. I mean, not a chance in heck to ever fill out. And they ascended to, one gentleman 3-time Mr. Olympia runner-up, the second 2-time. It's pretty amazing. With people telling them, limit genetics, limited this, you can't do it. Look what they did. It's pretty amazing to me. So whether you're a meso, an ecto, it doesn't matter. You can be what you want to be. If you had seen me, myself, being mostly meso in January of this year, I had really let myself go for various personal reasons. I might have even looked pregnant. But as you can see, I'm not. Nailed it. I have so much I want to say. I'm trying to get it out. Okay. I want to point out also in the audience two of my clients and friends. Michael, if you could stand for a second. Michael, ladies and gentlemen. Michael, while not an ectomorph, Michael came to me a year and a half ago. Neck surgery, very obese for you, confidence down, didn't know if he could do it. This man has, I'm telling you, has changed his entire physique. I mean, I could cry. It's amazing what you've done. Yesterday he did vertical dips for the first time ever. And you did 2 sets.
Yes.
And your shoulder doesn't hurt.
Correct.
I love it. My other friend and client, Jeffrey, if you would stand, please. Jeffrey, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey, classic ectomorph. What can I say about Jeffrey? It's a real lifestyle for him. If he doesn't get his meals in, he wastes away. He gets his meals in. He comes week in and week out to the gym. This man has had surgeries. He's come to the gym. How many?
5 surgeries.
5 surgeries. He's come to the gym with casts on his legs and still worked out. Now that's dedication and that's a lifestyle, and I'm proud of you. And that's what it comes down to, because I've never heard either of you really say to me, I may have heard I like the arms on him or the legs or the butt on this and that, but I've never heard you say I want to look like this. I've heard, let's be the best we can be. And if there's any message I convey without sounding like Mr. Rogers, it's be the best you can be. It comes down to that if you leave with one thing today, the question is how good can you be? I have a shoot in December, my last is model. The only reason I bring it up is the question looming over my head is how good can I be? And it's exciting to witness the possibilities. So I want to take you a little bit through the book so we can move this along. The book was what I would say is organically generated, and what that means in my mind is it was not a book that was given to me as a deal. I took my own money, I took my own brain and mind and wanted to do a book about the ectomorph. And the other reason I care so much about the ectomorph is because I feel a lot of ectomorphs have been bullied. Many of us have been bullied, all different kinds of people for various reasons. I myself am the victim of childhood bullying. Despite how I look today and sound or whatever other, maybe it made me go bald quicker, I carry it with me. You know, it's a tough thing. And the bullying is a big part of the book, actually. It was the spine in which the book began. Because many of you may remember the famous Charles Atlas ads from the 40s with the bully kicking sand on the victim. So that resonated with me. So the first day of photography, I recreated the ad with our model, and it really resonated because I had myself a bully situation this year. Not of a physical nature, but of a mental kind. And some of you here know about it. And the only thing I could do was, ironically, I wrote this book a year ago. In publishing, it moves very slow. Like the election. Very, very slow. So I had to go back to this book this year with the editors and everything, make it publishing ready. And at the time, I was a weak version of myself, not only out of shape, but mentally. And I've always found a commonality with the ectomorph, because I can't stand bullying of any kind. We all have the right in this world, in this life, to do and be who we want to be. And I don't like when people try to limit us, but worse than that, ladies and gentlemen, when we're the bully, because we can be the worst bully possible. When we live in ourselves, and we have this thing where things are going so good, how can these things be going so good? Do I deserve this? And we tend to do something, throw a monkey wrench in there or ruin it. I'm here to say we do all deserve good. We all deserve good, all of us. So do your thing and don't let anybody or anything stop you, whatever your dreams are. I can't say it enough, and I was almost thwarted this year. And I'm not just trying to sell a book here, but by going back to the book and what I wrote a year ago, I was able to get back to me, and that's really important, because how can I help other people if we can't help ourselves first? How can you be the voice of strength in helping other people? So, oh, okay. It was the most ambitious shoot I ever did. I just want to give you a little behind the scenes. I shot 2 books back to back. I don't know if it's because I'm Jewish and I wanted to save on the money. But I had the photographer for 4 days. She's amazing. And basically, I planned to do the sequel to Peak Physique and this book. The funniest story I can tell you is 4 days of shooting. Now, when you shoot a fitness book, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just you gotta like hold stuff and abs and everything. It's 4 days of this, 16 weeks of dieting, and I was really tight, tighter than now, shredded for the shoot. I had it. So I was at a client's house, was kind of to let us shoot there for the food segments of the book. And 2 sophisticated gentlemen are there drinking wine, and I'm there with my photographer and my female model, and then there's me, Cro-Magnon man, because once I started eating, I couldn't stop. So they're having discussions about art and all this stuff that I don't know what they're talking about, and I just couldn't stop eating. And it really wouldn't stop until I pretty much again looked pregnant. But that was like the funniest, thing of the shoot. I did want to talk about Brian. Brian is not here today, but the model. I'm a planner, especially when it's your money. You're going to be very tedious with everything. So I planned everything, shot list, everything done. I couldn't find an ectomorph that I thought had all the qualities. So I'm working out one day. When I work out, I got Pantera going, or Tupac, like dum dum. And I'm all caffeined up, and I look over and I see Brian working out. It's perfect. It's perfect. And I'm like, okay, I got to go up to him. I'm caffeined up. So I go up to Brian and I said, "How you doing?" And he kind of was like one of these, which is fine. And I said, plus he's not my type anyway. I like him with bigger. So I give him my card. I said, "Sir, I think you'd be perfect. Just look me up." So of course he goes home, looks me up. He's like, "Oh, you're an author." So I hired him, and Brian was great. I like giving people a chance. He had never modeled before, for a book. And he lasted a day. We got to shoot at the iconic Gold's Gym. I mean, the Mecca. If you look at where's the magazine section over there? The Flex magazine, all that. This is like, it was so cool to be permitted to shoot there. And the Fitness Factory, where I work in WeGo, was a Mecca. Save the factory, everybody. Was really, really cool to be, permitted to do that. So Brian made it through the first day of shooting, but he wasn't used to the flexing, and I'm a little bit demanding. He got a little bit sick, so I said, "It's okay, brother, go home, rest up." He came back on Monday, we nailed it. We were able to do some reshoots at the Fitness Factory, and we got what we wanted. So he's not here, but hats off to Brian. Michelle had come from Peak Physique, the female model, came for a day shoot for the Charles Atlas recreation. I wanted to create the ad again. Ironically, I, the victim, would play the bully. Why not? I was in shape. But I wanted to be a little bit in the book, and why not? But that was cool. So I have to thank her. The book itself, I got to get to what the damn book is about. Okay, the book, like I said, is a Swiss Army knife. It's got everything you need for this body type, the ectomorph. But more importantly than it, it's got the mental blocks of how do I go from sitting to standing to running when you don't believe you can. And that to me is the crux of the book. So it has a 3-phase, 12-week transformation. I don't care who you are, what you look like, or what you don't have. If you give me 12 weeks with you, and you eat and you train and you make it a lifestyle, you're going to change. And that's the bottom line. So it's got everything. It has myth debunking in there. Do we stretch before or after? Cardio before or after? All that stuff is answered because these are questions that people always have the need to know. So I like to throw everything in there that is needed. My other friend Seth is not here, but the LA Life chef was kind enough to put recipes in there for the ectomorph. What might these recipes pertain to, even? That's a good question. They're higher in fat. They're going to taste better because they're higher in fat. The ectomorph will do a disservice to his or herself if he or she eats only egg white omelets or things devoid of fat. So there's recipes in here with turkey thighs and salmon. And you need fat because fat is what's going to cling muscle to the body. What else? So much I want to say. Thank yous. I have to thank Lisa, my editorial director. Lisa, it's funny how life works out. I worked for Lisa on my first book, which was an honor. She wound up working for me. And she is the designer of all the books. I think her work speaks for itself. I'm not just saying this. Peak Physique was my favorite book until I saw this like last week. This is my favorite book because it's beautiful, it has everything, and more importantly than that, it resonates with the bullying thing that's going on so prevalent today in this world. I mean, bless you. Look at, it's just like, sorry, I wasn't going to go there. But, by the way, thematically also, this book is about making you great again. So, sorry, go out and vote, it's important, people. Okay, so, what was I saying? I have to thank Lisa, Jen, who at one time when I was engaged was going to be my wedding photographer, and she's so talented, and I could see more talent. Wedding photographers are very talented, but I thought she could do more, so I've hired her now 3 times to do these books. So Jen, I must thank. Gold's Gym, Fitness Factory, Brian, Michelle. this is very important, and I have to thank 3 people. I might get a little emotional, but whatever. My mother, my mom, and I'm not thanking her because you think I should or because she bore me, but because this year I called her 10, 12 times a day. Thank God cell phones are unrestricted, because the bill would have been astronomical. I couldn't afford the book, we wouldn't be here today. But my mother nursed me back to go and do what you do. You go and help people and you do your books and stuff. 2 other people that are here now, Marina and Isaac. There were 2 days this year, my friends were there for me on days where I couldn't function because of a personal what happened this year. So thank you both. I love you both. I'll never forget what you did. In closing, I have to say, if you know me, you know that I love Superman. Superman represents a purity and honesty and strength about Americana and the world. Superman 2, if any of you remember, Christopher Reeve, the only Superman, he gives up his powers. He gives up his powers because he falls in love. And his father Jor-El says to live like a mortal, you must become one of them. So he does. But the world needs Superman. And in a way, now I'm not Superman, but what I'm trying to say is, in a way, I had to turn to this book like Superman turns to the green crystal his father gives him. His father gives him the power of a crystal to get back to being Superman, and he can save the world. And I mean this, if I didn't have the book and what I wrote a year ago, I don't think I'd be who I am today. So it's for this reason, and this is dramatic, but it's my signing and I can be. I will sign a book anywhere, anytime, and it's an honor and pleasure, but I will only sign in green today because it symbolizes Superman and getting back to ourselves and being strong. And I think that's it. I skipped all over the place. But the bottom line, if you leave with anything, is how good can you be? Because only you all know that. And that's what life to me is about, is not competing against anybody else. How good can you be? Michael did dips yesterday. It was amazing. You had never done that before. We tried before. We backed off and we tried again. He did vertical dips, and you're a big dude. You're not like 165. That's a lot of muscle. Michael competes against himself, and I think that's what we should all do and just better ourselves. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Is there like a Q&A time if anyone has questions?
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions? If I can answer them, I'll try. Yes, sir.
Could you explain the difference between an ectomorph and an endomorph?
Yes. An endomorph is typically, and I don't think I did that earlier, so thank you for that question. An endomorph is the person, the guy or girl, who is typically bulky. They typically look at food and sort of seem to gain weight. They are shorter in stature, stockier. They are predisposed to carrying lots of muscle mass, especially in the legs. But it's a completely different physique, whereas the ecto is a slight build, especially, and I didn't mention this from front to back, they tend to disappear, narrow clavicles. So it's a completely different set of genetics.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Can the ectomorph eat a limited amount of calories and not gain weight?
Can the ectomorph eat a limited number of calories and not gain weight? Well, sure, anybody could, but the goal would be, are you trying to gain weight?
No, it's just your friend over there said he can eat as much as he wants to and not gain weight. Is that really the case?
Well, in Dustin's case, and I know Dustin, he's a good friend, Dustin eats pizza, you know, and because he can. He eats a lot of stuff. I know, right? Go. But a lot of times with the ectomorph, and thank you for that question, I didn't mention, I was going to, a lot of the ectomorphs don't take in enough calories, the right kind of calories. So what would be pertinent, your question's great, would be to take in proteins and fats first. Carbs would be later, because carbs and even fats, what is that, ladies and gentlemen? It's just energy. Protein is flesh, I mean, that's what we are. So it should be the number one, the paramount importance. Protein, fats, and then carbs, if they want to gain weight. The other thing, it coincides with a lifestyle of bodybuilding. This particular physique, you know, while some side laterals and pretty little exercises belong in there, you need meat and potatoes. You need deadlifts, you need rows, you know, all the old school stuff that we tend to put in the back burner today because we want to sell books and magazines, but you cannot reinvent the wheel. You know, am I saying anything in this book that hasn't been said before? No, but I'm saying it in a damn good way, because I'm kidding. But it's, you know, you can't, in my opinion, better what our forefathers put down. I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel. There are more modern techniques today, but the ectomorph needs to first look at his or her goals, and if they are to gain muscle mass, then in my opinion, and I'm not putting it down, but MMA training or, I can't think of it right now, what's that kind of training that is, CrossFit is not the way to go. So it comes down to goals, and from goals then you go with the nutrition and the training protocol. Anybody? Yes, sir.
At what age do you reckon our bodies make that ectomorph, mesomorph, or whatever it is? At what sort of, is it sort of around puberty or anything that it's sort of the body, or is it even earlier? It's like we really are born with it.
That's a good question. I mean, you're born with you know, our genetic structure and frame. We're born. As we grow, the pituitary gland secretes growth hormone, which allows us to become men and women. But we have a genetic predisposition to how we're going to look ultimately, and our size and structure and everything like that. Having said that, what always fascinates me and why I love this is it's not just bodybuilding to me, it's a mental building. It's like, again, how good can we be? All right, Dustin, you weren't born, you know, with like the calves that insert very low, but you can get those guys bigger. I might roll the pants down today. Just kidding. I'm kidding. But that is what gets me excited over this whole thing, is how good can we be and improve. So we're born genetically how we are.
Yeah.
What we do with it is up to us. Yes?
How much does a person have to eat like throughout the day or at specific meals to gain? I mean, I'm sure it all depends on like your weight goals, but what's the food intake like?
Great question. Great question. As a rule of thumb, you want a pound of protein per pound of body weight. So
Oh,
don't go there.
I know what it's doing right now.
Okay. Dustin, my friend, what you weigh?
60?
Okay, so 160. So Dustin, who's nothing example, he would want to take in to grow quality muscle at least 160 grams of protein a day, but you want to up that. So if I were you, I would take in 200 a day. Now here's where people are going to go, what? Fats, 100 grams, at least, because fat is calorically dense. Fat contains 9 calories per gram versus carbs and protein clocks in at 4. So fat would be key. Carbs, you may ask, on training days, I would say anywhere from 300 to 400 grams of carbs a day, and then you get away with 200 on non-training days. Because what are carbs, again, ladies and gentlemen? It's just energy. It's just energy. You want to change your body, protein is number one. That's man or woman. So if you were to add all that up, you'll get the caloric allotment. You'll get what that is. And also, small meals throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, we were scavengers thousands of years ago, so we would hunt or whatever they did, and then eat, and then have to find the next meal. And that's kind of, you know, evolutionary how it works. So you want to stay in what's called the positive nitrogen balance. You want protein in your system at all times. It is, and I said this earlier, I think, but I'll repeat it. It is, in my opinion, the ectomorph may have it most difficult of all three body types because he or she must not miss meals.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, who works very hard, sometimes I'll see him on a Tuesday. Monday he won't come in for whatever reason, and he'll have missed meals, but we're very honest and he'll tell me. And I'll see a difference in Jeffrey's physique. Plus, because I was a contest judge, I'm trained for that. But by Tuesday, by Wednesday...
If there's like 2 days of like not enough meals, it's a visual difference for sure.
And then once he has a day or two of training and food in him, he's full and hard again. You know, so it's the ecto. It's a lifestyle for us all, but the ecto can overcome his or her genetics. But you guys, I give credit to because it's going to take some gusto. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, if being slight is not my issue, do you recommend eating nuts or a protein shake or something prior to working out, or eat nothing prior to working out and then protein after, or what's recommended prior to working out?
Great question. My question to you is, what are your goals?
Drop some of the baby,
Okay.
and buff up the chest and shoulders and arms primarily, and legs accordingly.
Well, the way it works is a lot of people also do this. One week they want to build a house, and then the next week they want to paint the house. And when it comes to the body, we have to choose one goal and stick with it. In other words, if you're trying to build up, now the days of bulking up are kind of over, so no, getting sloppy is a no-no. But one would choose their goals. So you would get bigger first and then hone it down later. Having said that, the key would be always you want to have, if it's cardio, which we don't do cardio to burn calories, we do cardio to rev our metabolism up. The best time is in the morning on an empty stomach. When you're in a state of fast, your body will use adipose fat as fuel. If you don't have the luxury of doing cardio first thing in the morning, empty stomach, you would always want to do your weight training first and then your cardio, because those of you that have tried to do cardio first and then weight training